You have 3 sections to go through today, and these are somewhat easy, so that's why we're going to do 3 in one day. You should have seen most of this in middle school math, but we have to go back and make sure you know how to do it. The first one is 2.1, graphing integers. What you have to do is name the coordinate. In other words, what number is each letter on. I'll call out the letter, and you have to tell me where it's at. So where is A? -1. Where is B? 2. And where is C? And where is D? It's at -4, right. So the first practice problem here goes to Maynard. And what number is A on? -1 is right. Next one to Mackenzie. Where's B? 4. And Porter, where is C? 2. And Ramey, where is D? 1. Roberts, where is E? -3, right. Sampson, where is F? -5. All right. In this case, you have to graph each set. So I have a ruler up there for anybody that might be too short to touch the screen up there, but whoever volunteers can go up and either touch the spot on the screen where it goes, or if you need some help height wise, then you can use that ruler and go on up the wall with it. So storms, and we'll count this as points because I don't want you to have to go up and not get any points. Storms, can you go up and touch -2? That's right, this is -2. And the next one goes to Wallace. Where is 1? 1 should be right here, and the next one is 4, and that goes to Ward. 4 should go right here. Maynard, where is +3? Yeah, +3 should be right here. Next one goes to Mackenzie. Where is -5? -5 should be right here. Next one goes to Porter. Where is -1? -1 should be here. This was -5, and this was +3. All right, Ramey, where is 7? And 7 should be right here, yes. You have to put in less than or greater than. Put one of those two signs in between there. It can't be anything else. I won't give you any equals on these sets of problems here. Okay, so the first one, -3 and 6. Roberts, what sign should go between -3 and 6? Is what? -3 and 6, that should be less than. -3 is less than 6, not greater than. Now for Sampson, -4 and -5, what sign should go in between there? Greater than is right. Yes, -4 is greater than -5. When in doubt, draw a number line like this down here at the bottom, and you have a 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back in this direction. There's -5, -4, whichever is closest to 0, if the two numbers are negative, is the one that's going to be greater. So -4 is greater than -5. Storms, what sign goes between -7 and -2? Less than is right. Wallace, what sign goes between -2 and -3? It should be greater than. Should be greater than because on the number line you have a 0. Here's 1, 2, and 3. So this is a -2 and a -3. 2 is closer to the 0 than the The negative 2 is closer to the 0 than the negative 3. So negative 2 is greater, so the mouth would have to open up to the negative 2. Ward, what sign goes between negative 4 and negative 1? Less than is right. And Maynard, what sign goes between 0 and negative 2? Greater than. 0 is greater than. Mackenzie, what sign goes between negative 3 and 0? Less than is right. And Porter, what sign goes between 4 and negative 5? Greater than is right. These are absolute value symbols here. This is not 1 minus 21. Notice that these brackets are larger than what a 1 would be. They're outside the line. Absolute value of negative 2. Anytime you have an absolute value sign, the final answer that comes out of that absolute value bracket is going to be positive, no matter what it is inside the brackets. So if I have the absolute value of negative 2, it comes out to be 2. Then I have the absolute value of 8. Whatever comes out must be positive, so the absolute value of 8 is still 8. And down here at the bottom you have an absolute value expression that you have to evaluate. What is the absolute value of negative 3? Positive 3, yeah. Then you have a minus sign, and then you have the absolute value of negative 2. What is the absolute value of negative 2? 2. And then simplify the final expression. What's 3 minus 2? 1. Yeah. So next up is Ramey. What's the absolute value of negative 2? 2 is right. And Roberts, what's the absolute value of negative 4? Right. And Sampson, what's the absolute value of negative 6? 6. Storms, what's the absolute value of 6? 6, right. So the next one up is Wallace. On the first one, the absolute value of negative 2 plus the absolute value of negative 4. What should that be? The answer is 6, right. Ward, what is the absolute value of 3 plus the absolute value of negative 5? 8 is right. Maynard, what's the absolute value of 7 minus the absolute value of negative 3? It is 4, yes. Mackenzie, what's the absolute value of negative 8 minus the absolute value of negative 4? 4 is right. 2.2 is the coordinate plane. This is also an easy section. However, if you are still lost a little bit on it and you let that carry through Algebra 1, it can make life very difficult, especially when you go to geometry and then Algebra 2 and beyond. So we'll fix anything we need to fix here today. The first set here is to write the ordered pair for each point. And each point has a letter attached to it. So before we go down through this list of A through H, if I picked a point out here in black, and it's at this point, in case you can't see where I put it, you have to start at the origin every time. And you always go left or right to start with. How far to the left do I have to go to get lined up with this point? Yeah, I've got to go to negative 2. So that's the first thing I would write, and then comma. How far up from the x-axis do I have to go to get to this point? 5, and that's a positive 5. So negative 2, 5 is that point. Always start in the origin, and then go left or right to make yourself even with the point, and then from there count how many you have to go up. Now if I have to go down, the number is going to be negative. If I go up, it's positive. If I go to the right, it's positive. To the left, it's negative. So you should keep in mind that for the first quadrant, you're going to have positive, positive for a point. In the next quadrant, number 2, you would have negative and then positive for your point. In the third quadrant, both numbers would be negative. You'd have to go back and then down. And in the fourth quadrant here in the bottom right, you would have to go to the right, positive, and then down, negative. So whenever you see those sign combinations, you should know where the point is at. The first one goes to Porter. What is point A? Point A is negative 5, 3. That is right. Next one goes to Ramey. What's B? Negative 1, negative 5 is right. Next one goes to Reinhardt. What is C?
Positive 4, negative 4.
Positive 4, negative 3 is what it should be. This one goes down just 1, 2, and then 3. We'll go to D. We'll give Reinhardt D. Give her a chance to get one right.
Positive 2, 3.
Positive 2, 3 is right. And Roberts, what is E? Yeah, 6, 5. And Sampson, what is F? Negative 3, positive 1 is right. Storms, what is G?
Negative 6, negative 3.
Yeah, negative 6, negative 3. And Sweeney's not here, so Wallace, what is H? Positive 1, negative 2 is right. You're given the point A, B, C, D, and E, and then you have to go figure out where it belongs. So in this case, you can go up to the board and point to it, or if you're not tall enough to touch the board where it's supposed to be, there's a ruler on the bookcase, and you can use that and then go touch the screen where it's supposed to be. Ward, where should point A go to? You got to leave your finger on it so I can see it. All right, negative 2. You got to leave the ruler on it so I can see. There you go. So you go back 2 and then up 4. And does he have the right spot? Yes. Maynard, where should point B go to? And leave the ruler on it until we're finished. 5, negative 2. All right, does he have the right spot? Yes, so that is B. All right. Next one goes to Mackenzie. C. Where should C go? 0, negative 3. And he has that right. Yes, C. Next one goes to Porter. Where should D belong? D is 6, 4. And let's see if she has it right. Over 6, up 4. Yes, that is right. All right, and the next one goes to Ramey. Where does E go? It is negative 5, negative 4. Let's see if she has the right point. Yes, she does. All right, that is E. The quadrants are 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the first quadrant, if you'll remember, is plus plus. The second quadrant is negative plus. The third quadrant is negative, negative, and the fourth quadrant is positive, negative. So keep that in mind whenever you get a problem that looks like this. Negative 3, 2 is in what quadrant? What quadrant is negative 3, 2 in? Yeah. Yeah, it's in the second one. And don't write just 2. Write it in Roman numerals. That's not an 11. That's a Roman numeral 2. What about 5, 7? What quadrant should 5, 7 be in? Yeah, it's in 1. What quadrant is negative 2, negative 4 in? It's in the third one, right. What quadrant is 0, 6 in? Yeah. 1. Let's take a look at where 0, 6 would be at. 0, 6 is right here. We go left or right, nothing, and then up 6. So what quadrant does that fall in? Is it in the first? Is it in the second? It is in none of them. If it falls on an axis, and remember this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. If it falls directly on an axis, it's not in any of the quadrants, it's just none. This one goes to Reinhardt. Which quadrant is -2, 3 in?
5,
We have 4 quadrants.
4,
It's in the fourth one, if I go back 2 and then up 3, if I start in the origin, I have to go which direction? Left or right? Left, and then I have a +3. Do I go up and down, or up or down? So which one is it in? 2. Yeah, it's in 2. And we'll go to Roberts. Where is 4 -6 at? It's in the fourth one, right. Sampson, where is -1, -2? 3, that's right. Storms, where is 8, 11?
1,
1. Wallace, where is -5, -6? 3 is right. And Ward, where is -2, 0? Which one is it in? It's in none of them, right, because if you have a 0 in your point, it's going to fall on an axis. So it should be none. Adding integers, positive and negative. Yes, the calculator will give you a right answer every time if you plug it in, but if you don't know how to add positive and negative integers on your own, you'll get into a position where you could have estimated an answer or came out with it precise, yet if you type it in the calculator wrong, it's going to give you a wrong answer. You should know how to do basic math with numbers from 0 to 10 and maybe even beyond, and not have to rely on the calculator. So find each sum, no calculator. And here's how you can do addition easily and learn it if you have not yet learned positive and negative numbers. I have a -3 plus a +6. So I have 3 negatives, and we'll make the negatives red. And then we'll go to green. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positive. If you're adding positive and negative numbers, you can pair up the negative and positive signs. So I have, for every negative, I cancel out a positive. What am I left with? 3. So the answer is +3. Now for 9 plus a -4, I have 9 positives. And then I have 4 negatives. I'll cancel out a negative for every positive that I have. What am I left with?
5,
Yeah, +5. On the next one, I have 2 negatives and then 5 negatives. Do I have anything that I can cancel out? No, so let's just add up what's there. And what do I have? I have -7, yeah. Down here at the bottom, I have 3 negatives and then 9 positives. So I'm going to cancel 3 negatives and 3 positives. What am I left with? Yeah, I'm left with +6. All right, the first one goes to Maynard. What is -2 plus 6? Answer is 4, right. Mackenzie, what's 5 plus a -7? It's not going to be 2. Porter, what should it be? 5 plus a negative 7. It's not going to be 1. Ramey, what should 5 plus a negative 7 be? Negative 2 is right, yes. Reinhardt, what should negative 2 plus negative 3 be?
Negative 5.
Negative 5 is right. And the last one goes to Roberts. What's 9 plus a negative 10? Negative 1 is right. Sampson, what's 5a plus a negative 2a? 3a is right. Storms, what is negative 10x plus 6x?
Negative 4.
Negative 4x, yes. And Wallace, what is negative 7b plus a negative 2b? 9b, I have set 7 negatives, negative 9b, yes. That's 7 negatives and 2 negatives. If I add them together, I have 9 negatives, so negative 9b.